We've got a number of stories developing overseas, starting with a new claim from President Trump regarding the war in Gaza. He says Hamas and Israel have agreed to a deal. Israel would withdraw forces from Gaza. Hamas would disarm. But there are indications the deal has not been approved by either side. Charlie D'Agata is following this in Jordan. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning, Vlad. Pivoting away from the Iran war, that surprise apparent breakthrough over the future of Gaza. Details are scarce, and obviously Israel has to be on board. But here's what we know now. So the headline here, as you said, the deal would see Hamas handing over its weapons in exchange for a complete withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza. That surprise announcement didn't come from the Middle East, but by President Trump, calling it an historic agreement for the complete disarmament of Hamas, a monumental step toward lasting peace and security. Now, if this agreement is to stick, and that is a big if, it would be the first time that Hamas has agreed to disarm. Not just Hamas, by the way, but other militant groups in Gaza. Hamas said it's contingent on Israeli troops withdrawing to where they were before October 7th. So an Israeli politician source tells CBS News that Gaza was not discussed in that recent meeting between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when he visited earlier this week. That same source says there will be no withdrawal from Israel of Israeli troops from Gaza until Hamas is disarmed. So President Trump's Board of Peace, which helped broker this, it's a 20-point deal, said it also includes Hamas filling in that vast network of tunnels. And that process alone could take at least 300 days. So we spoke to Hamas spokesman Ghazi Hamad, who said the consolidation and storage of weapons, doesn't like the word disarmed, would not happen before Israel implements its commitments, and that includes the withdrawal of Gaza. We're also told and learning that Israel launched new strikes in Gaza hours after Trump made that announcement, a reminder of just how volatile Gaza still is. Vlad?
All right, Charlie D'Agata in Jordan. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd joins us now to talk more about this and to explain what it all means. So you heard Charlie there, Sam. Sounds great on paper, but the interested parties have not indicated that this is actually going to happen. But if it were to happen, what's your reaction and what would it mean for the region?
Well, Vlad, as a counterterrorism expert, I'm hopeful and I'm skeptical at the same time. I'm hopeful because for the last 40 years, Hamas has waged a campaign of terror that's killed countless innocent civilians. I'm hopeful as well because Trump's own intelligence community assessed a few months ago that Hamas retains the capabilities to conduct attacks both in the region and beyond. I'm also skeptical, Vlad. I'm skeptical because Hamas was founded in the late 1980s to destroy the state of Israel, and in its founding charter, it clearly states that violent jihad is the only way to achieve Hamas's objectives. I'm skeptical as well because Trump's intelligence community assessed that Hamas would likely accept the minimum level of disarmament to maintain the ceasefire, but also wants to remain the dominant force in Gaza. And finally, Vlad, I'm also skeptical because this framework requires Israel to play ball. It requires Israel to engage in phased withdrawals in exchange for Hamas giving up weapons. And with elections looming, we just don't know if Prime Minister Netanyahu is willing to make any concessions to Hamas whatsoever.
Yeah, especially given that Hamas has just attacked Israel once again. So how would this agreement work, Sam, and how would it be enforced?
Well, Vlad, the details are still forthcoming. What we know is that Hamas would start to give up certain kinds of weapons, weapons from its police force, eventually weapons from its militias that it controls, and then ultimately it would, in addition, disclose its vast network of tunnels and allow those to be filled in. That would be done in exchange for the phased withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, and ultimately Hamas would step back from governing Gaza altogether. A new technocratic government would come into play, a new police force, and an international stabilization force would be there as well. Certainly, there would need to be independent observers to monitor and verify that Hamas was disarming. I do want to note that there have been terrorist groups in the past, of course, that have disarmed over time. We've seen the IRA in Northern Ireland, the ETA in Spain, and other examples. But those cases are few and far between, and so the devil certainly remains in the details on this one.
I was literally thinking the same thing, Sam. Hope springs eternal, but the devil is in the details. We appreciate your analysis always. Thank you.